Yeah, that's my boss. I love AI. And if we happen to be connected on LinkedIn, like Thomas said, you'll know that already. I won't shut up about AI, which is also what got me this spot up here today. But I also know AI can be polarizing. And the world is not black and white. But I will start out by asking all of you a very black and white question. So, who else in here loves AI? Good. Don't be shy. Good, there's a few of you. So does that mean that everyone else hates AI? Come on. Not a single person. No? Okay. Because there are definitely AI haters out there. This guy up here, he's from our industry. He called me a bad liar. He asked me to shut the F up. I think I earned myself a little troll. But you know what? I mean, I get it. I mean, AI is a divisive topic, but I just happened to share a little bit on LinkedIn. But I mean, maybe, just maybe, calling me a cult leader, conspiracy theorist, maybe that was a little out of line, don't know. But like I said, I do have a lot of empathy for all of us in this room here, because I think all of us right now, I think we're just trying to grasp what all of this means for us and for our jobs. Because the world is changing. And sometimes it seems like this industry is changing even faster. And I don't know where we'll be in 10 years, in 5 years, in 2 years, or just in 6 months down the line, right? What I do know is that content creation, it's changing, it's being disrupted, and whether we like it or not, content, it's being digitized. Are we even going to have photo studios 10 years from now? I don't know. I'm definitely not suggesting that we're not will be creating content, because we will, and probably even more than we are creating today. But it's probably not going to be photographed. So maybe we'll call it content production centers, studios, agencies, something like that. But I do think that in 10 years down the line, the majority of us in this room here today, we might still be creating content, but the majority of that content is probably going to be created digitally. Right now, it's only just the very beginning. I think a few of us probably remember Levi's a couple of years ago. They went out and said that they wanted to increase diversity by using AI models. Didn't exactly go down that well. Much more recently, we got J.Crew. I actually don't think that campaign was all that bad. I just think they should have been much more transparent about it. Then we've got Guess and Kelsey. This is what you were referring to in that session just before. This is just no. I mean, we don't need AI to create this plastic-like Barbie doll, right? I think we can do better. In the summer, we had H&M come out and say that we're going to create digital twins of 30 of their models. I mean, I think they managed to control the narrative a bit better, but they definitely still received a little bit of backlash. We all heard from Mango earlier today. If you're not following Mango already, you should, because they've been pushing out AI campaigns, I think, for about 1.5 years now. I don't know if any one of you are spending all that much time over on the Forever 21 website. If you're not, go check it out. Forever 21 is one of the brands that have actually been able to roll out AI models at scale. And it's not just PDP, but also in some of their lifestyle and campaign content. So go over there, check it out, see if you like it. Last one up here, this is Max Mara. high-end brand, I was only able to find 4 AI-generated images on one of the category pages, but definitely testing out a lot of stuff. Truth is, though, none of this is happening without consumers adding their 2 cents. And AI, lately, it's been getting a little bit of a bad reputation. According to a lot of consumers right now, AI just automatically equals slop. Slopified has become a verb, and right now it's being slapped on everything AI. And you know what? To some extent, it's fair. We open up our phones, and right there it is. AI has become democratized, right? You all have access to Nano Banana, whatever the shiniest new tool is, and all of a sudden, we all think we're great content creators. But AI doesn't automatically equal slop. That's not the whole story. Another narrative out there right now, another assumption is that AI just automatically equals cutting. Cutting out the creatives, we're cutting costs, or we're just generally cutting corners. But again, not the full story. I think we as this industry, I think we need to have bigger ambitions than that. I think we have to look at what AI can help us do that we've never done before, open up new opportunities, more flexibility, and again, AI doesn't have to equal coding. Marcus actually said that earlier today in his Mango presentation. It's not necessarily about cutting costs, because AI is just a tool. I mean, it's a powerful new tool in our toolbox, but it is just a tool. Believe it or not, but AI doesn't actually have an agenda of its own, at least not yet. We're still the ones who fed that tool. We're the ones who's prompting that tool. And I think probably, most importantly, we're the ones who decide what to do with the output of that tool. And I can't help to think about the camera analogy, right? I mean, we're pretty much all of us, we're walking around with a decent camera in our back pockets. It doesn't make all of us great fashion photographers, right? Same thing with AI. Just because we all know how to prompt Nano Banana, it doesn't mean that we're all of a sudden all great AI artists. So I think it's time that we, as an industry, all of us in this room here today, take a step back, ask ourselves, how do we get from the AI slop, be able to use AI as a tool for more creative freedom? How do we get beyond the slopification? And the good thing is, I know we can, because we already seen it. And I also know the answer, but before I get to that, let's just take a quick look at it. We've seen good AI campaigns. They're out there. Great AI imagery already exists. We heard from Marcus at Mango earlier today. We all got a little bit of a glimpse into what it takes to create some of this imagery. I think H&M here is another great example of what good AI can look like. And there's one thing that stands out to me. And that one thing, it's not the tech, it's not the tools, but it's the teams and the people behind the campaigns. Just like it always was, right? So, if you haven't already figured out the answer to the question I was asking before, it's the people, it's all of you in this room here today, that you are how we are going to get from AI slop to creative freedom. We need creative experts in the room, and not only to create the images and the campaigns and all of that, but also to help build the AI that we use for these campaigns. And that's the exact mindset we had when we set out to create digital twins. And some of you may know Carlos already. And if you know Carlos, you'll know that Carlos is our Chief Product Officer here at Pixels. But for digital twins product, the lookbook that we created for the launch, Carlos doubled not only as the AI artist, but also as the brain behind everything. And the real reason Carlos is able to not only create great products for this industry, but also to create great imagery and great campaigns is because of his extensive experience from within the fashion industry. Before Carlos started at Pixels, he spent a lot of time working as a photographer, as a high-end fashion retoucher. He spent several years at both Mango and Zalando. And Carlos, please join me on stage. Thank you, Carlos. So Carlos, you've been on this flow stage a couple of times before. What do you enjoy the most, the flow stage or a TED Talk?
Well, flow was fun, but TEDx was also fun because that's my digital twin and it's how I tested the technology. So that's in fact not me, but it was fun.
All right. But before we dive into the good stuff, let's just all agree on exactly what a digital twin is.
Well, we talked about this today several times, but a digital twin is a replica, as Kelsey was mentioning before, of a real person. I mean, before it was me, now it's Nicole here. This is a picture of her book. And on the right side is what we were able to create with a digital twin. It preserves the identity, the hair, the body, any kind of mark that she has. So it's a 100% copy of somebody that we can then use to create images.
Great. So let's take a look at how we create campaigns and images with the digital twins.
It's very similar to any shooting, any photo shoot out there. Most of the steps here that we highlighted are the same, except that there is no shooting per se, right? We substitute that for AI generation, but maybe we can look at them.
All right, because first up is the creative brief. And from my understanding, this is not really all that different from, a traditional creative brief.
It's exactly the same. As creatives, we need to know what you need to create, right? So we need an information about the color grading, the lighting references, posing references, the stylism, how we're going to combine the garments, how many images that we need to create at the end, makeup references, as any other agency would request if you ask them to shoot a campaign, right? It's very similar.
And then model casting.
Yeah, that's kind of the core part of digital twins, right? This is some of the digital twins we have already. We started collaborating with a model agency in Barcelona to launch this campaign. You can see Nicole here. And after that, several agencies also reached out to us. We started collaborating with many more agencies, and we have a portfolio now. You can see some of the models here that are from CBD. They were performing a workshop yesterday here, in fact. And yeah, the important thing here is that the agency has an agreement with the model. They reach out to their model pool, which ones of you want to be part of this digital twin catalog. So there is this informed consent that also Kelsey was mentioning on the workshop before. And once the digital twin is created, the agency represents both the real model, as they were doing until that moment, right? And also the digital twin. And it works in a very similar way as representing a real model. They negotiate the fees with the customers, they decide which works the model is going to take, and they can also withdraw the digital twin whenever they want. So very similar. And well, this is Laura, for example, and yeah.
I think one of the questions that we get a lot, right, from our clients is, do we have to work with one of the digital twins that we already have in our library, or what if they have a model they're already working with? Can we create a digital twin of that?
Yeah, true. I started showing our catalog, but in fact we can create a digital twin of whoever, and it doesn't matter. As far as there is, we need that consent, that agreement with the model agency and the agency with the model, but we can create a replica of anyone. I created myself. So.
And so does either the model or the agency, do they get to approve the likeness of the digital twin?
Yeah, when we are training the model meaning the AI model, we generate some images to see how it's performing, and we share these images with the model agency, and so they are informed and they know and they can provide us feedback about it. And in fact, I think Kevin was mentioning yesterday as well that some of these images even went to a portfolio or a book of one of these models, and the model was reaching out to the agency. Hey, when did I shoot this? I don't remember having like shooting that before. So they really recognize themselves on those images. I mean, I recognize myself on that image. Yes.
And how much time does it actually take us to create a digital twin?
Technically, it's quite fast. We also have our own servers, so we can speed up that process a lot. It takes less than a day. Probably will take more time, all these agreements and making sure that we have everything in place between Pixels and the agency and the model. That could take some days, but technically, as I said, less than a day. It's quite fast.
And we also create a digital twin of the garment. And this might actually be even more important than the model, right? Because here, like the accuracy, we want the product to be a one-to-one replica of the actual product. And how do we do that?
Exactly, because a difference with a real shooting is that we don't have the garment with us. So we need to get as much information as possible of that garment to make sure that after that, when we generate the images, our artists can check that the garment is a one-to-one replica of the real garment. So the minimum amount that we highlighted here is at least one front and a back on a mannequin, so we can see the shape, how it falls down, how it fits. If it's flat lay, we cannot see that information, so it can impact on the outcome, on the quality of the output. And the best is a wider data set, several images, several angles. You can see the texture, of course, high resolution, so we can appreciate every detail. And even a description can help some maybe features of the garment or the composition that can, again, as I said, make our artists check that the garment is reproduced correctly.
Great. So now we have the digital twin of the model, we have the digital twin of the garment, and we have the creative brief. How do we combine all of these things?
Now is when we don't have the shoot, but we have the generation, and we use a combination of different technologies, both that we develop in-house. We have our own AI team for many years, so we leverage that in our server, of course, but also third party. We need to be out there, we need to leverage the best technology, and we combine this with our own. The important thing to mention here is that we run everything locally, so we are not sharing data with anyone, not using APIs. Everything is run in our own environment, so it's quite secure. True, the generation, exactly. It's not just one click and done. When you go out there and you shoot, it's not that you put the model out there and you shoot one image and you're done. We generate several images, we iterate on the process of generating the first ones, and then when it's running okay, then we generate even several images. We can do a pre-selection. In this case here, I use Capture One. We put all the images, we star rate them, compare them, make some adjustments, color grading, cropping, and then we export the images. And in fact, as Thomas mentioned yesterday, we're working on this integration, so you can even export that soon to Pixels directly from Capture One.
And then there's a step that we call the aesthetic review. And just want to be clear that this is a 100% internal step, and for very good reason. This is not something we share with our clients because...
I mean, we could, but this pre-selection of images that I was mentioning before, we curated. So that's the aesthetic review that Katrine is mentioning. We are probably not going to share these images to you to do a final selection of the image, unless it's something we can retouch. Imagine that the image of Elena here on the right side, I don't know, everything is perfect except it has two heads. But maybe we can retouch it, and it's the best image, right? We're going to show a selection of images that we think we can bring to the last step.
And the last step, that's our favorite topic here at Pixels, right? Or at least one of them is retouching. And the thing about AI-generated images is that they still need retouching. And how is this any different from like more traditional retouching?
Same but different. We still go through many of the same steps that we go through with a regular editorial image. Also, Kevin and Elia explained very well yesterday, but I don't know, masking, liquefying, color matching. But we also have different things to look at in an image that we normally don't on editorial shooting, like the garment is one-to-one. In a regular shooting, you have the garment, so you know that when you take the picture, it's going to be the real garment. So here we need to check that this is right and correct it. And sometimes, or most of the times, we also need to look at the skin that is not too perfect, not too digital. So we need to create even kind of imperfections of texture. So that's the main differences mainly. And if you can go to the next one. How we do this at Pixel, just briefly, is that, as you know, as we break this down into smaller steps, and some of them are also automated. So we use AI in some of these steps that we highlighted here. Some of them are performed by regular automations, and some other ones by humans, by creatives, especially the ones that require more subjective work. So it's a combination of both AI and humans again.
All right, and just a few more examples of some of our images, right? And this one up here, all the way to the right. That's actually my favorite image. This is Elena. For me, it looks like it's the street in Italy, right? And I really like her outfit. But then you put her in some silk top, and then all of a sudden she's in Copenhagen. It's way too sunny. And how much does it actually take to make this type of changes?
I mean, I also like that one the most, but this is just to highlight that you don't have to reshoot. Imagine that you don't have stock of that garment anymore, but you like that image. You can change it for another shirt without booking the model again, going to the same place and shooting it, right? I mean, nobody's doing that because it's really expensive, but with this technology we can do it. We can also change the background, and that's quite fast, in fact, and flexible, so it can also expand what we can do normally in a regular shoot.
Just a few more examples here. Anything you'd like to add?
I think to highlight what you said before, right? It's a combination of technology and creatives. If you don't have the knowledge, the taste, the passion that also Marcos was saying, you can do many things with AI that are not useful. And we need to create more and more content, more elevated also, as Luke was mentioning. It converts, as we were talking about it before. So it's a tool for the creatives to use, but not to replace them.
And that takes me back to the very first slide. I started out very boldly saying, I love AI, and I meant it. And I think now, at this point, I think I can say, we love AI.
Yes.
But I don't love AI for the tech or for the tools. I love it for the opportunities that it's able to create as long as we're open to working with it. And one of the things that I really enjoyed being such a big part of the digital twin launch, I was working with talented creatives like Carlos and the rest of the team. And I think as long as we make sure to get the right people involved, right people, all of you guys in this room here today. And as long as we can stop to see AI as this big bad thing that's coming to destroy our industry, take our jobs away from us, but we can start looking at AI as a tool to help us create more opportunities, to be more flexible, then I think we can all create more and create better. But only as long as we get the right people behind it. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. All right. Who wants to take this one?
I can take it.
You do?
It can be used for both. And we can create anything with digital twin images, but it's like working with a new freelance or a new agency. We need to get to know each other. What kind of content do you want to create, and make sure there is alignment on the creative brief and what we're going to produce. And it will require some onboarding or some working time together to get to nail that to a point that we are going to produce PDP at scale for you. So initially we prefer to have more time, and normally we have more time for editorial shoots to start working with you with digital twins, and then when this is reached up, then we can move on to PDP.
Is it actually fair to say, Carlos, that when we move into AI-generated visuals, then the difference between PDP and campaign becomes a little more blurred in a way?
In terms of the generation part, yes, but it depends as well on the cost, the time. I think that makes a difference between editorial and e-commerce. The resources spent. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take the top one. I want you to take a deep breath through How many angles are ideal for digital twin for full details, full body close-ups, back, front, etc.? Are there any specs for the images of the model? Can they be an iPhone image, for instance, or you need a certain resolution, or how's that?
A digital twin of the model or the garment. If it's about the model, models normally have plenty of images in their books already, unless you hire a new model that never posed before, they have plenty of images, so we never had an issue with that. So you take the book, of course, the images that you are allowed to take, and then you have enough. If we're talking about the garment, as much as possible, I mean, the more data we get, the better the output will be. But at least high resolution, meaning, I don't know, 2 to 3K, that you can see the details front and back. If it has something special on the side, it depends on the garment, right? If it's a plain t-shirt, then maybe 2 images is enough. If it's a dress with different details and you want to represent it correctly, then as many angles as a human also will need to understand how the dress is.
Yeah. And I guess the same really goes with everything else that's data related, right? I mean, bad data in, bad
Exactly. Data
data
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. The top one could be interesting. You want some control over where their image is used.
Yes, as they already have control of where the image is used when they shoot a regular shooting, the agency takes care of that, right? What's the right work for each model, and they decide that together. I mean, the model has an agency because it trusts that agency that's going to book her for the right jobs, and it's very similar to how it's used today for real shoots. Yes.
I think I'm looking for Kels. Maybe she ran off. I think it was one of the things that Kelsey mentioned in a legal session as well, that to have these things very precisely defined is actually or to create that whole transparent throughout the, you could say, the value chain, how data and how that virtual twin is being used.
Yeah. And also withdrawal, so they can also withdraw from being a digital twin as well when they want. Yeah.
Second one from the top, can you achieve 100% like-for-like product accuracy?
With AI, you can never get to 100%, maybe 99. Even Sebastian will say 99.9, but 100% of all garments, I mean. Maybe most of the garments I see here now, yes, but if we get to a super complicated, maybe Balenciaga, catwalk, dress, maybe it will be more complicated, or it'll require more work, maybe more images, and then we can get to this 99% accuracy.
I think it's also what I've been told in other sessions, that the whole QC and that kind of thing, it doesn't necessarily get any less because you move into AI integrated. Yeah. Good. There's a couple here around the models. Do the models earn an equal amount as a digital twin as on a traditional photo shoot? And how do they get paid every time you use a digital twin? So question number 1 and 2.
The two, yes, of course. That's also represented, like it's the agency who's negotiating that fee with the end customer, and they take care of that depending also on the model value and the expertise and so on. If they get an equal amount, that also depends on the agency, probably less. They don't have to move. They can be in 3, 4, 5 shootings at the same time without moving outside of their house, or it can be in a real shooting while the digital twin is producing images somewhere else. So probably it's not the same amount because it's also not fair. You are not moving there. But that's for the agency to decide, so it's not for us.
Okay, good, cool. Here's again something about the timeline, right, and resources and stuff. What's the timing for the entire pipeline production? Let's say 12 images in a total with one model.
It depends on how many garments you want to combine, how many layers, that's also important, not how many images, also how complicated those images are for the QC and retouching process. It's not the same retouching 12 images of this kind or this other kind. Retouching will take more time, but I don't know, 2 weeks maximum, maybe a week and a half.
Okay, good. Thank you. And how about digital twins and video counts?
Everybody's asking about image to video.
Yeah.
We're working on that. We've made progress, but as we want to deliver things that are really high quality, so unless we are there, we prefer not to release it yet. So we're working on it.
Good. How many images did you use to create your own data set, to train your own custom model?
That is very different from the models one, because in the iPhone you have one, when you go to images, you can select one person, it recognizes the face and puts the name. So I just took all the images there. I was thousands, but I finally used like 1,000 or so. But you can use 30. Yeah.
Good. another one on the cost side here. Right now, is it a good cost-effective option to do AI for PDP if the client has high product daily production? I mean, has a high volume. High volume is very different. But if you really have a high volume thing, what would you say?
But it depends, right? How much do you spend now to produce one product? And your PDP, there are brands that only spend like 40 euros, there are brands that spend 150, 300. It depends. If it's in the low end, probably not, because it requires also artists in our side, computing power, so it's not the cheapest option. But if you spend 300 or 150, then probably yes, it's cheaper to do it with digital twins.
Cool. Thank you. Racer number 1, racer number 2. Thank you. Off you go.
Thank you.